thousands of years ago. Now he's in South thing too.
Hi everyone, we'll get started in about a minute, okay?
What is your expectation for this sponsorship? I don't want you to be disappointed. Be disappointed. I hope you are. When I heard that, I said, "Go back home," because you're not making no money. You're consistent. You can't. It's calling you when good company can be vulnerable because somebody has to step in and shut it down. But
no goodbye.
He does. They do.
Good afternoon. How is everyone? Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started, and then as people arrive, we'll just kind of squeeze in. So this is our general meeting, and we'll be here from until about 3 o'clock. Okay. I'm Carol Crombie. I'm president of the Atlanta Post-Polio Association, and thank you for being here. Our agenda today is we'll have our post-polio news and information. We will present our featured speaker and share information about members at the end of the our time together here in this 2-hour period. We'd like to start with our devotion. You taught me how to do this already. Alice, did you get back to my main page? Get back to that.
Yes.
Now I'm going to go off of this. There. Yep. Thank you. I'm still learning this technology, guys, so bear with me. I think you'll enjoy this devotional. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. So he gave us some good things to think about and to also.
I'll never forget standing there in my bedroom. It was dark. It was
That's
cold.
not where we want to go. There we go. Okay. The next thing I wanted to do is celebrate. I don't know if you can see that clearly. The lights are kind of bright in here. But recently, we heard about the passing of our past president here at APPA, and if you can see, many people knew Bonnie Bonham, and she was a past president here. She served as a secretary, a program director, and a newsletter editor. Prior to Joe's coming on, I know he talked to her also about running that newsletter. She also was a volunteer with the Accessibility Advisory Committee, and she served on the Kiwanis Club at Marietta Golden Cave Board of Directors. So she was really active. How many people here really knew Bonnie? Remember Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that, I wanted to take some time to recognize her. And for those of you that knew Bonnie, are there any comments, anything you'd like to say or add to your remembrance of Bonnie and her involvement with APPA?
Her husband was also a member of APPA. He lives in wheelchair too. He died a long time ago.
Pardon me? Did you hear that? So everybody can. Thank you.
My husband was also a member of APPA, and he was in a wheelchair, but he died quite a few years ago.
Oh. Any other comments about Bonnie? I've gotten lots of comments over the phone and emails. So, okay. So also, this is going back a few months, but this is an earlier picture. This is from his obituary. But those of you that remember Gordon Henderson, he was here with his wife, Mary Ann, and they always came as a couple to our meetings. And he was an educator also. I found some things that I didn't know about Gordon, that he taught political science and computer science. And he was a consultant and expert in social science. He did a lot of work on the actual discrimination that was in Alabama, and served as an expert in that area. He wrote 2 college level books, and his wife is Mary Ann. She's a member. They're both members here. So, do you remember Gordon? How many knew Gordon? Yes, they were really cool people. So I just want to take time. I think it's good to just acknowledge, to celebrate the life of those who have gone on, but we're really supportive of that. The next thing in our news about polio, this is the month to end polio now that the Rotary Club has. Anyone that is familiar with this, if you know about the end of polio now objective? Okay, thank you. David, anybody else know about it? Polio now? Okay. The Rotary Club is very involved in ending polio around the world. Right now, there's probably, I think, 3 countries left where the polio is still an epidemic. But we managed to eradicate polio. Most places around the world, there have been some instances where that's spurred, but Afghanistan, Nigeria, and another country I can't remember what it is. What is it? Pakistan, thank you. And a lot of that has to do with the wars that are going on in these places and not being able to get to people and that kind of thing. But this is a really important event. We're vaccinating children and people, period, that to prevent the continued spread of polio. And so note what in your particular counties, you can see what the Rotary is doing in this particular area. Some of us have been asked to speak at Rotary events around our experience with polio. If you know people who are saying, oh, I don't vaccinate my child because I'm concerned about vaccinations, let them know from experience that they don't want the opposite effect with polio. So I would encourage you, we want to encourage you to support the efforts in polio now, and you'll be hearing more about that this month. Any questions on it? Okay, thank you. Now, some of you may have seen that the Pennsylvania Polio Network was having a webcast. And because of the floods from Maria that are happening in North Carolina and South Carolina, they postponed this event. And because they were helping give it a lot of support to those areas, and there were people in those areas were affected. But they're doing a live webcast. Dr. Bruno is one of the noted doctors in the field of working with post-polio individuals. And so they're going to recast this broadcast, this webcast, and we're going to make that available, let you know when that is going to be, and we'll send that out to everyone. Okay, so. The last bit of, well, a couple more things. Save the date. Tuesday, November 27th is Giving Tuesday. That's the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And it's Show Your Love for Georgia Gives. And the Georgia Gives campaign, APPA is a part of it. This is the 3rd year we have participated in Georgia Gives. So you'll hear more about it, but we want to make sure that one of the things you do is share this information with your friends and family and let people know about Georgia Gives. Okay? So you see he's hugging the state of Georgia, but anyone can give. They don't have to be from Georgia. They can be from anywhere, and they can give to the Atlanta Post-Polio. So that's our website, our link for the Georgia Gives campaign. And you'll see more about this, and I want to make sure that you're able to tune into us and help raise money through this campaign. Okay? Question? Questions? Okay. The last thing is that on November the 3rd, we're going to vote. We wanted to announce the slate today, but we've got to hold up with a couple of things we need to do. So we will get that to you this week. We will provide that slate to you, working with us to chair that committee, that activity. Charlotte Terry and she is working with us to get our slate together. I can tell you that both Rita and I were to be on the slate last year. So we're going to be on the slate this year for 2 more years, okay? And we are also going to have a couple of new people who we are invited to be board members. So that will be our slate for this year coming up. Those individuals will be installed onto the board after the November 3rd vote. And then January at the board meeting will be installation of those individuals. And we'll actually present them to the full board at our general annual business meeting on February 2nd. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Now I'd like to take the time to have Rita come up. And Rita's going to introduce you as the program head here, program lead. And Rita, if you come up, and do we have a mic? While you're coming up, let's just go around the room and have people say who you are, because one of the things that I didn't do today is introduce a member. And I'd like you to introduce her and have her introduce herself while we're waiting. And do we have a mic for a member? And while we're doing that, we don't have another mic. Okay. She needs a mic. Can you give her the mic? Okay. Oh, you haven't hooked up to yourself. Okay. Let me have you introduce yourself. This is just kind of quick introductions. Who's in the room?
Hi, my name is Sula.
Okay, yeah, just talk loud enough so we can hear.
That's great.
I have a soft voice too, so.
Okay, my name is Margarita Rovira. I'm originally from El Salvador, but I live here in Roswell now.
Originally from?
Originally from El Salvador, Central America,
Okay.
but I live here in the U.S. now. I used to come up, I fell in love with Georgia because I used to come up with my mother to Warren Springs every year. And I got really attached to Georgia. And then I went to Georgia Tech as a college. And I always wanted to live here in Atlanta. So now I do.
So you're here now, thank you. Okay, some of our members, we'll just go right next to Shannon and just pass down here.
I'm Shannon Morgan. Everyone knows me. I do database and database and treasury.
You have
If anyone has any questions, let me know. I'm a board member.
Okay.
I do. Margarita said she's already a member. I didn't get any paperwork on her.
Oh, okay, we'll make sure you get it.
Good, so they didn't get to me yet, so you're not in our database yet.
Okay,
So if you will put in.
we'll make sure you get that. Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Janine Eggleston. This is my very first time
Put it up to
here.
your mouth, please.
My name is Janine Eggleston. This is my very first time here. I was referred by Dr. Strausser. I guess lots of people have been.
Thank you, welcome, welcome. We'll make sure that we get some information.
Yes, you were saying that you were send things out and whatever. I think you don't, I guess I give my email address. Is that for you, Shannon? Is that it? Okay. Well, I'm excited to be a member of the association.
Well, thank you, welcome, welcome.
I live in Beaufort. I had a hard time finding this place this morning. I thought I wouldn't, but anyway, I'm here and I'm on time.
And you did good.
But anyway, it's good to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Joe Jogan.
Leslie Children.
Belinda Whitaker. I'm Charlotte Terry.
And I'm Thaddeus Lewis. I'm James Harrison.
I'm Jacqueline Carthon, daughter of James Harrison and Allie Harrison.
Thank you.
I'm David Jordan, and I'm board too.
Okay.
Good afternoon, even though I'm unsure in terms of what's going on, but anyway, I'm happy to be here. I'm Gloria Mims. I've been a member of APPA for more than a decade and am a life member.
Thank you. And let me
I'm Rita Carlson, and I'm in Program and Public Relations.
yes, a perfect segue to introducing our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyway, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker today. Her name is Moby Mitchell. She's from Georgia Cares, and they provide updates on Medicare information. They're a public-private partnership administrated through the Georgia Department of Human Services and Division of Aging Services. And luckily enough, I called her. She was on the contact line yesterday, and I called her this morning, and I got her up, and everything's working perfectly. And I'm so happy to see all the information that you're going to be providing to us. So if you'll welcome her, please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, be with you all, and I will see if I can get into my information. And again, my name is Novi Mitchell. I'm with Georgia Cares. We support Medicare. We support Medicare.
Hold on a second, let me.
Okay. And we have families and their beneficiaries understand what their Medicare options are, different plans, prescription drug plans, advantage plans, other medical plans. I need to. Medicare made easy. Of course, I'm with Georgia Cares. I'm a shift counselor. And how many of you know that Medicare at times feel like a maze? You're not sure which way to go, left to right, right to left. These are just some questions whether yes or truth. Medicare pays for all services. She's shaking her head. No, that's Medicare pays for permanent nursing home placement. Permanent nursing home placement. That looks like a slow no. I'm just gonna give you the information here. It doesn't, you're correct, and also with Part A, it's free for most people. And you may already know that. Part B has a monthly premium, And most of you are probably paying $134 for your Part B premium. If you are receiving Social Security, it is probably coming out of your Social Security check. Of course, you get enrolled in Part C, but you cannot have an Advantage plan. I mean, a Medicare supplement plan when you enroll in the Advantage plan. You can have an Advantage plan, PPO, HMO, but you cannot have a supplement plan to go with that. You would have to stay with original Medicare in order to get the supplement Medigap plan. And of course, you enroll with the Social Security Administration. They're the agency that deducts the Part B premium. Okay, of course, it is a federal program, and it is through private insurance companies. Most people know that you have to be age 65 in order to enroll into Medicare. People who are on Social Security disability, who are younger, not SSI, but Social Security disability, will also qualify after 24 months. Individuals with end-stage renal disease also qualify for Medicare, and they do not have to wait the 24-month period. There are different terms that you know because you've probably been paying copay and co-insurance, and that you understand that with original Medicare, the copay co-insurance is about, your portion is 20%, unless you have a supplement or Medigap plan. Then it would either be 0 or lower. And there's also deductible, Part A. And I did give you some information with regards to shows Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. Part A is inpatient, hospital. So most people have Part A for free. Generally, if you worked, I want to say what Social Security calls the 40 hours, sometimes that is about 10 years. You have Part A for free. Premium. You do not have co-pays and co-insurance and deductibles for free under Part A. That's separate. Part B, of course, is the outpatient, doctors, specialists, any outpatient. And you must have Part A and Part B in order to enroll in Part C. If you want to enroll in Part C, which is the Advantage plans. And if I'm going too fast or if you don't understand something, just stop me, okay? And because you look with just like confusion on your face. Okay, I like that. Excitement. Okay, Part C is what's called the Advantage plans, where generally you enroll in the HMO or PPO, if some of you have that. And then there's Part D as in David, which is the prescription drug plan. And oftentimes the prescription drug plan, if you enroll in Part C, it comes with that particular medical plan. If you do not enroll in an Advantage plan, you would have to enroll in a separate prescription drug plan.
Excuse me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Back to C. Would that include if one is still working full-time, and that C, as far as either of those two plans, HMO or PPO, would be covered under one's employer group health plan, or is that something separate?
Your employer may have a PPO or HMO, but Medicare also, there are private insurance companies that will also provide your Medicare through a HMO and PPO.
Oh, okay, then, so that's different.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And that's different. However, if you have a private, your employer is providing your Medicare, your medical, then you may want to get one of these brochures that I have here that indicates who pays first. Because if you have insurance on your job and you have Medicare, then you need to look at who pays first.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And how that works. And of course, the original Medicare, of course, is called original, and some people may call it traditional A and B, but we call it original Medicare. And consists of two parts, as we talked about. The Part A, we talked about the skilled nursing. And it also provides home health. If you go into the hospital and you have to come directly out of the hospital or out of the skilled nursing and you need home health, then that card would go under A. And the hospice care also will go under A if you need it, if you're coming out of those hospital skilled nursing. And of course, we know that new Medicare cards are coming out. Who has received their new Medicare cards? Almost everyone have received their new Medicare cards. Awesome. And where's your old Medicare card? You don't know? You put it up or you destroyed it, you hid it, you did something. You didn't send it to anyone. Because some people may be committing some fraud or abuse with regards to telling you you need to send in your old card or something like that. And we talked about the inpatient and nursing care. Talked about other home health services. Is there any questions or comments so far? Am I going too fast or too slow? I'm good? Okay, thank you. And we also discussed the premiums for Part A. If you don't have the 40 quarter hours, then you may have to pay for Part A, which is less than, from 30 to 39 hours, of course, $230. Less than 30 hours, then that's over $400 that you would have to pay monthly in order to enroll into Part A. Also, if you are, depending upon your income, you may qualify to get assistance to help pay your Part A and help pay your Part B. So we'll talk about that as well. And the skilled nursing, if you have to go into rehabilitation, of course, the 1 through 20, those days are free. But after that, starting with day 21, you will be paying $161 per day per Medicare. And after 100 days, you will be paying for all of it. So just keep that in mind. And if you, of course, feel that you need skilled care on a long-term basis, then you may want to go ahead and apply for Medicaid, nursing home Medicaid. And you will speak with a social worker at the nursing home about that. We have in-hospital stay. This is Part A. There is a deductible. The premium may be free, but there is a deductible, $1,340 per year. Not per year, per benefit period. I'm sorry. So you could pay that several times throughout the year if you stayed in the hospital for that period of time. Or if you went into the hospital, came out, and went back maybe 3 months later, you could pay it again. So just keep that in mind. The deductible, because it's per benefit period, not per year. Same with skilled nursing.
Is that the way it's always been?
I know I've been with them at least 2 years now, and that's the information that I have seen since. And maybe 5, 10 years ago, it may have been different. Home health care. Of course, you shouldn't pay for home health care under Part A. 20% for durable medical equipment. So if you need durable medical equipment, you know that the doctor has to write the script for that. And sometimes the doctor will set up for a certain company because they may know which company Medicare pays. There's hospice care.
What is this last bullet point? Home health advanced beneficiary notice.
As for a home health advanced beneficiary notice before receiving services and supplies that Medicare doesn't cover. So it's basically a form that would inform you that Medicare doesn't cover this $300 item or service. Do you still want it? And you generally have to sign that yes, you still want it, so that they would have proof of that. You're welcome. And then there's hospice care. You shouldn't pay for hospice care, even if you have an Advantage plan. Original Medicare will pick up the cost for the hospice care. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And of course, there are long-term care, a range of services and that you may need with reference to the Medicare, and you and your doctor, of course, can discuss that with reference to long-term care and the services and support that you may need. And when it says that the A covers long-term care hospital, generally is rehabilitation. It wouldn't be the long-term care nursing home where someone has a resident now in a nursing home. And there's Part B, doctor services, outpatient, home health care. When, of course, home health care is on the Part B as well, because you may not have been in a hospital, or you may have gone to your doctor and they have made that determination that you need certain services. Part B, keep in mind that Medicare covers medically necessary, and so Medicare ultimately will be the one to decide whether it was medically necessary. Of course, a doctor can indicate that, and Medicare, I'm sure, generally follows what the doctor says. Of course, we talked about durable medical equipment, medically necessary supplies, and just be careful with people calling you regarding durable medical equipment and different supplies, asking for your Medicare number. And just make sure that you go through your doctor for what medical supplies you need, so that you can just make sure that you're not giving someone your Medicare number that may use it for other reasons. And there are several preventative services for Part B, and you can just go down the list, different preventative. Have you all had these preventative services, or most of them, or all of them, or are they strange looking to you? Hepatitis B shots, welcome to Medicare exam. If you're new to Medicare, then you should get that exam. Welcome to Medicare. Alcohol misuse, who have gotten that screening? She puts her head down.
Thank God, that hasn't happened to me.
Okay, flu shots. Your doctor recommend you get flu shots? You skeptical of flu shots?
Mine yesterday.
You got yours yesterday. Did you cry?
No, I was too embarrassed.
You was too embarrassed. Okay. All right. Things that are not covered by Medicare, as we talked about long-term care, talk about when you're a resident in the nursing home. Dental care is not covered by Medicare. There are some advantage plans, PPOs, HMOs, that may offer some dental, some vision, some hearing. Before you join that plan, you make sure you understand what some mean. Some may not mean what you think some mean. Make sure you get a good definition of that. And as we also discussed, Medicare covers about 80%. You will be responsible for the 20% if you're in original Medicare. The deductible for Part B is $183 a year. And some of the advantage plans also may have similar deductions, deductibles 20%. So just make sure that just because you are in a PPO or HMO doesn't mean that it is better as far as the co-pays. So make sure you look at that as well. But of course, they may offer some other things that you like, such as silver sneakers, gym memberships. They may offer those type things, transportation. so many rides a year, but they may offer those. And this is the Medicare cost for 2018. Of course, if you're making over the 85,000, you will pay more for your Part B premium. And as the income increases, you will pay more for that. It would not be the $134. And these are your options: Part A, Part B, obtain a prescription drug plan, or you have an option with reference to Medicare Advantage plan. Also, under original Medicare, you can obtain the Medigap supplement plan. Anyone that has a Medigap plan? You have a Medigap? You like it?
Yep.
You love it? And some people, and I'm not sure if this is in your situation, more doctors may take the original Medicare assignment. And sometimes that's why people want to stay with the original Medicare. More doctors take that assignment. And that is another information with regards to the Advantage plans. Make sure that your doctor accepts that plan, whether that is Cigna, Humana, Aetna. Make sure your doctor accepts that plan. Make sure your doctor is in that plan's network. Because even though your doctor accepts that plan, your doctor may be out of network, and you may have to pay more for out of network. So there's a little work that you have to do just to make sure that you are in the right plan for your situation.
What does the gap cover?
It covers, it could cover the 20% that you are responsible for. It could cover some or all of that, depending upon, she asked what did the gap cover. It could cover some or all of the 20% that you are responsible for in original Medicare, because you have different plans. There may be 10 plans, A, B, C, D, F, G, H. So F covers all the co-pays and co-insurance. F covers everything, so you wouldn't have any. G does not pay for the Part B deductible. That's $183. However, you still need to look at what F costs, what G costs, what N costs, and that information, I believe, should also be in your information so that you can get an idea. Because people, I just hear some beneficiaries saying that they get calls regarding people calling for them to purchase F because F covers everything. But if the price difference between an F and a G is $50, then it may not make sense to go with an F, because G only does not pay the $183 a year. So keep that in mind as well. Of course, you enroll through the Social Security Administration. They're the ones that deduct for that Part B premium. And that's for Part A and Part B. In reference to Part D, as in David, you can enroll, you can go online, Medicare.gov, or some of you may have to set up an account, mymedicare.gov. You can enroll there. You can enroll with us, Georgia Cares. You can enroll with 1-800-Medicare. You can enroll, this is Part D as in David. You can enroll with the insurance company directly. If you know, if someone says, I like this particular company, or my sister has this company, I'm with them. So you have options in reference to enrollment. And of course, if you're still working at age 65, you will not have a penalty once you stop working. Just have to make sure that Social Security has information that you have credible coverage. And that would mean, of course, that your employer should have at least 20 employees or more. Even though you are retired and your company offers you retirement insurance that is probably very good, that is not considered credible coverage. So should you 10 years from now decide that my company wants to charge me $500 for that now, I'm going on Medicare, you will probably be charged a penalty for not enrolling at 65. Some employers, of course, you may have this great insurance for 50 years. Just keep that in mind. Retirement insurance is not considered credible coverage. It's probably a great policy, great insurance. But for Social Security, it is not considered credible coverage. But if you're still working, 20 employees or more, that is considered credible coverage. Just keep that in mind. And when the employment ends, it indicates, of course, Medicare will become your primary. When you stop working, you have a special enrollment period, which is 8 months to enroll in Part B as in boy. You have 8 months to do that, to enroll in Part B. But you should enroll within at least a couple of months. You have 63 days in order not to be charged a penalty for Part D as a David. Because if you don't have a prescription drug coverage, if you are without it for more than 63 days, they may charge you a penalty as well. That's Part D as a David, the prescription drug portion. And if you're not automatically enrolled, you have a 7-month initial enrollment period. This is initial when you're turning 65. So you can enroll 3 months before, your birthday month, and 3 months after. If you enroll before, your Medicare should start the first day of your birthday month. If you enroll later, then it is delayed. It may be 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months later before the effective date. Any questions? And we talked about the special enrollment period, which is 8 full months. Be careful not to rely on COBRA to extend that special enrollment period, because that will not count generally. And if you do not enroll when you are doing your initial enrollment period and you wait, you would have to enroll in what's called a general enrollment period, January 1st through March 31st. And just keep in mind, you may have a penalty. It just may be, it's 10% every 12 months. Just keep that in mind. Of that, if you pay $134 or if you pay the $187, just depends. And your coverage will begin July 1st. And the penalty will stay there as long as you have Part B, unless you get some type of waiver. Advantage plans are approved by Medicare. Of course, they're run by private insurance companies. They should give you everything Part A and Part B indicates that you should have. They are supposed to provide you with that. This is another way to get your Medicare. And of course, the doctors are networked. For some HMOs, you may need a referral. Others, you may not. Same with PPOs. Probably most PPOs, you do not need a referral to see a specialist. But just know that there are networks. You still have the same rights, as I indicated. They should provide you everything that original Medicare says that you have. And it could include your prescription drug coverage. Any questions so far? Any comments? Any corrections? Just taking it all in? Like, wow. Is anyone learning anything?
I'd like to know, on here it says about travel. If you go abroad,
Yes, ma'am.
is Medicare covered?
Generally not unless maybe it's an emergency, but if you have an advantage, not a supplement plan, some of them may cover, that cover you when you're out of the country.
So it depends on the country.
As far as the supplement, not advantage plan, the supplement. Yes, Medicare supplement plan. Yes, so Medicare was not unless it's yes, ma'am.
If you choose an advantage, you still pay Part B, right?
Yes, you will still pay, if you choose an advantage plan, you will still pay for Part B, yes.
And then you choose any of the private companies.
That's on Medicare.gov. You can choose a company that's on Medicare.gov. Some of them have additional premiums, some of them do not.
I've heard that a lot of people using Aetna.
A lot of people use Aetna. I don't have the statistics, but I mean, when people call us, they're enrolling in a lot of different plans. Yes, ma'am.
There's a United Healthcare that is approved by AARP that a number of colleagues talk about. That being one of their supplement plans. And I was wondering if you have any information about that one.
I don't have information on the AARP plan itself. Of course, we can look at supplement plans per se and give you information. Just keep in mind that the supplement plan, there may be 20 companies in your zip code that sell the supplement Medicare. However, all of them can offer you Plan F or Plan G or Plan E. They can all charge you different prices for that. But they have to give you everything that F or N says that you're supposed to have. But they can charge you something different. Each one can charge you. And you're talking about supplementing, you were talking about so I didn't want to confuse the advantage plans with the supplement plans. But right.
See, that's where I'm somewhat confused. Because even though I'm still working full time and have, of course, and Medicare, then there are those who are in a similar situation and yet are saying that they have maybe additional coverage like with United Healthcare or some who are retired and they have that a similar type of situation. And so that's why I'm trying to get clarity now so as to being able to intelligently be, to make the right decision about any additional coverage that I need as I approach retirement.
Okay, with the supplement plan, United Healthcare, AARP, they have a supplement plan, but they also have the advantage plans. So with the supplement plan, they're talking about either paying 20 or up to that 20% that you're responsible for with Medicare. If you were in original Medicare, parts A and B with a prescription drug plan. Parts A and B, they would pay up to that 20%. And there is a separate premium for that supplement Medicare plan. It's a separate premium. But the United Healthcare also has advantage plans as well. AARP has advantage plan. So just keep that in mind as well. But it is separate from the Medicare supplement plan. And if I need to speak with you later, I can. just to make sure that you are clear on the difference in the Medicare plan and the Advantage plan. Anyone else have a question about Medicare or supplement? Okay, and of course it talks about the types of Advantage plans. And the special needs plan are for people who may have different chronic conditions for the special needs plans. Special needs plans may be for someone who has Medicare and Medicaid as well. So those companies may offer you something more. And so and they will not allow us to enroll you in that plan. They want to enroll you themselves because they have a series of questions, I guess, that they ask. But they are on Medicare.gov, those plans. And of course, with Advantage plans, you must choose one from your zip code. It must be in your particular zip code. You can only be in one plan at a time. And as indicated earlier, you must have Part A and Part B. And this is a young lady from El Salvador. You must also still pay the Part B premium. You will still pay the Part B premium, and hopefully you can find a plan that you're happy with that does not have an additional premium, PPO or HMO, but you may not, so just keep that in mind. But if you're happy with your plan, great. And of course, you know that next week, is it next week or the week after that? It starts open enrollment, October 15th. And, but first we'll talk about this, when you can join the switch plans. Of course, when you can join your initial enrollment, when you're turning 65, you have 7 months, 3 months before your birthday month, 3 months after your birthday. You have an annual enrollment, that's the open enrollment, October 15th through December 7th, where you can switch plans. That coverage will begin January 1st. Of course, you have the special enrollment. If you move out of your zip code area, if you stop working, or your plan leaves the Medicare program, you have a special enrollment period. Of course, you have disenrollment. If you join a plan within the next 2 weeks and decide January, mid-January, you're not happy, because by that time you've done more further research and you don't want to be in that plan, you can go back to original Medicare. What this does not indicate is that 2019, you can change to a different Advantage plan. Years past, you could only go back to original Medicare if you did not like your Advantage plan. But in January, you can switch to another Advantage plan through February 14th. And also, if you go back to original Medicare, you have the option of joining a prescription drug plan. And here's the supplement Medicare policies that we were talking about earlier. Policies, of course, sold by private insurance companies, and Medicare indicates that they fill the gap, that 20% that you are responsible for. Deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance. You must still pay the Part B premium. That does not appear to go away. And here are some of the plans for the Medicare. And as I was talking about, F has a check mark by everything. And G doesn't have a check mark by B as in boy. So just keep in mind that you may decide that you want to plan C, for instance, C as in cat, which does not pay the Part B excess charges. And some doctors may never charge excess charges, some of them may. But C may be, $70 less than F. And it would just be your option after you have looked at this and said, what's important to you? What's important to you? And keep in mind that there may be 20 companies in your area that sell these plans. Each one can charge you something different, but they all will give you what Medicare says you're supposed to have. But prices may be different. So you may have to call and make a chart. Okay, and the enrollment period for the Medigap, once you turn 65 and enroll into Part B, really your enrollment into Part B starts the Medigap enrollment period. You have 6 months in which to join and not be asked any medical questions. So you can join later, but you may be asked medical questions. So keep that in mind. So you have those protections. And we get to Part D, as in David, which is run by private insurance companies, and it's available, of course, through Medicare.gov, the prescription drug plans. And if your particular medication is not listed, then of course you would need to get your doctor to get that added to your formulary through whichever plan that you have, or attempt to get that added to your formulary. And to be eligible for Part D, you have the option of having Part A or Part B. Some people do not choose to have Part B at certain periods for whatever reason, but you can still get a prescription drug plan with Part A only. Sometimes it's the affordability of the premium, and sometimes there are other reasons. But just know you don't have to have both of Part A and Part B in order to enroll in a prescription drug plan. And if you don't enroll in a prescription drug plan, within, let's say, 63 days of being without a plan, they may charge you a penalty as well. You may be charged a penalty as well. Of course, you have generic and brand name drugs and required coverage for drugs in these 6 categories. So if you know of anyone that has been denied these particular drugs under the Medicare plan, then Medicare needs to know that. And drugs that are excluded. Weight loss or weight gain. And I help you have a baby. And the cost. Of course, it's higher if you wait to enroll. We talked about that. This late enrollment here is talking about the prescription drugs. That is 1% based on the base premium, which was $33 in 2015. So if you waited 12 months, then it would be like 0.12 times. It's a formula that they do. And this is just going back to talk about the initial enrollment, open enrollment. So when is open enrollment? I think I got a calendar for someone who knows when open enrollment is.
October 15th. October 15th through December 2nd.
Okay. Did you say that too? You were mumbling.
Hospital.
I have a couple of, beer bottles. Somebody said hospital. And what does Part B cover? It's medical outpatient. Okay, and what does Part C cover? And D, I'm just gonna look at you. Help her out. What does Part C and Part D cover? D is prescription drugs. And C is the Advantage Plan. I know you would know because you were concerned about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Donut hole. Who knows about the donut hole? You know about the donut hole because you pay more in the donut hole. When you and your insurance company reach a certain amount, I want to say it's about $3,700. When you and your insurance company have paid about $3,700 on your prescription drugs, then you go into what's called a donut hole, where you will pay more for your medication while you're there until you paid about $3,000 of it, and then you and the insurance company, and then you come out of the donut hole. So here it talks about the responsibility. Your responsibility, for instance, in 2014 was at 47% in the donut hole. You paid it. By 2020, in 2 years or a year and a half, you will pay 25% in that particular donut hole because of the Affordable Care Act coming about. That's what caused you to have your portion lowered as years went forward. And this is talked about before 2011, and it just goes to 2020 again. This is, one was for brand names, this one is for generics. So 2020, you will be paying less for brand names and generic in that donut hole. Okay, Medicare savings programs are not part of Medicaid. Myth or true? I don't know what Medicaid is. Yes?
I would think yes, but.
You would think yes?
I would, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're gonna think yes. If you qualify for QMB, Slim B, or QR1, you automatically qualify for extra help. First, do you know what QMB, Slim B, and QR1?
Yes.
Well, basically, they all pay your Part B premium. They all pay your Part B premium. QMB also pays your copays. And extra help lower your prescription drug costs. And so, if you qualify for QMB, Slim B, or QR1, you automatically qualify for extra help paying your prescription drug coverage. She's like, maybe. Okay, we'll come back to that one as well. All right, Georgia has a state-run health insurance marketplace.
Yes.
Okay. Most of the Medicare covered preventive services are free.
Was that again?
Most of the Medicare covered preventive services are free. You said yes, you said true. Medicare Advantage disenrollment period is October 15th through December 7th.
That's true. That's true.
Disenrollment.
Oh, that's enrollment. Not disability.
There's discussion.
Maybe.
Maybe. There will be no, in 2020, there will be no out-of-pocket drug costs during the donut hole. Med. There's a 20% co-insurance for durable medical equipment.
Yes.
Medicare is part of the health insurance marketplace. She says backwards. What's backwards? Well, Medicare.gov. Georgia has a state pharmacy assistance program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to. Oh, man.
What does the bottom two say? I can't see.
Well, the last one is Georgia has a state pharmacy assistant program.
Oh, what is it? Checked.
Oh, I'm
I just
sorry.
can't see it, that's all. That's
Says
it.
no.
Oh, okay.
Basically, myth.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm just standing in front.
No, that-
Medicare is part of the health insurance marketplace. No, ma'am, not the health insurance marketplace. That is what some consider Obamacare. So Medicare is not part of that.
Oh, I was thinking of, maybe it's Georgia Cares, but there's a place you can call to help figure all this out.
Oh, state health insurance. You're thinking about the SHIP counselors.
Yes,
The SHIP counselors.
yes.
Where do you call to have help? Before the enrollment period, you want there was something back a while ago that said you could call someplace and they'd help you compare in your area.
Where you can call one, you can call us, Georgia Cares. Yes, ma'am.
Because that just says RX, it doesn't say that number there.
That shouldn't say RX.
That's just for drugs, or is that for everything?
That's for everything, Part A, Part B. Yes, we can speak with you about all of those concerns. You can also call, of course, 1-800-Medicare as well, after hours. Okay, and now this is for the Medicare Savings Program. This is a resource limit for individual and couple. So if you have, they do not count your house and your car, but they will count your bank account. They will count your stocks and bonds. For the individual and couple. And this is the income limits. And this is for what's called the QMB, the one that helps pay your co-pays. The individual limit is $1,032. And for the Slim B, SLMB, the individual limit is $1,234. Only pays your Part B premium. Only pays the Part B premium. QR1 only pays your Part B premium. If you and your spouse both are on Medicare and your income exceeds the 1872, they will separate the income. So if your income separate, one or both, is less than $1,386, then you should qualify to get your Part B premium paid. This is an application through, the program is through Department of Family and Children Services. which is called Medicare Savings Program, but it is a Medicaid program. However, Georgia Cares can go online. The application is online. We can go online to help you with the application, or we can give you the website, or you can, of course, go into the Department of Family and Children Services to apply. And the extra help, low-income subsidy, is with prescription drugs. That helps lower your costs with prescription drugs. And also, if you're paying a premium, it will lower that premium. And that application is on the Social Security Administration's website. We can go there and help you with that application. Submit that online. Or, of course, you can go there, or, of course, you can call Social Security Administration. And it indicates that some people automatically qualify because this income, let's see, is, I'm not sure which page it will be on, is $1,532 for individual. And this program will not separate the income. So it's still going to count. And the $1,532 is for one person, like a single. But for the married couple, I know it's $2,000 something, but it will not separate the income. And a lot of people pay no premiums or deductibles depending upon your income. Okay. So right here it talks about if you're at like $1,471, what resources that you would have as a couple and individual. Let me make sure this is the correct year. I don't think the income went up to $1,532, and for a married couple it's $2,000 and something. So I apologize for that. They have 2015. And the health law, of course, was signed into law in 2010, the Affordable Care Act. And the Affordable Care Act, part of some services with Medicare was health, basically, preventative services like flu shots, mammograms, free wellness each year. That was part of that Affordable Care Act under Medicare. There are also volunteer opportunities. I put a volunteer flyer on in front of you. And as we talked about what Georgia Cares can do, we can talk with you about Medicare, we'll talk to you about policies, the different Medicare policies, comparisons, plan comparisons, report fraud and abuse, learn about other resources, great points to remember, and some A's. But I'm sure you all have learned a lot today, and these are some resources. So what are some of the things that you learned today that you didn't know prior, or have a clear thought process with that?
I made a note that when you need to check, not only does your doctor accept the plan, but that he's within network.
Yes, yes, awesome.
That was really.
Make sure that your doctor is in network, although he accepts that plan.
Well, travel abroad. I didn't know Medicare.
No, travel abroad. Travel abroad. You must travel. Get a checkup before you leave.
What policy do you visit to cover your health care in case you decide you're going to be going abroad?
It's foreign coverage.
Well,
It's foreign coverage.
well, on some of the Medicare plans, I don't know if you're on original Medicare or an Advantage plan, some of the Medicare plans indicate that they cover foreign travel up to a certain limit.
How much can the Medicare policies cost?
It really depends because they don't tell us the exact prices. They just give a range, so they may say 100 to 300, but there are 20 companies, so one of them probably would charge 100, and the other one may charge 300. So that's why I say you may have to do some research on that. But we can give you names of the companies, we can give you their phone numbers. Questions, comments?
Yeah, so this time of year, you'll be getting a whole bunch of stuff in your mailbox if they know you're over 65 years old. All of these Medicare programs you get from the APPA, from United Health, from AARP, you just get buried with stuff.
He said you will get buried in the Medicare information, the information that you receive in the mail. And if you want non-biased information, plans, you're more than welcome to call Georgia Cares, 1-800-Medicare.
Do you do, like appointments in your office, or is it just phone conversations?
It's both. We can have appointments in the office. We can have appointments on the phone. They go out to several different senior centers. You can have appointments at that particular senior center or library. They go to, I know they go to a library in Fulton County. And I heard someone say they were from Beaufort. They go to Beaufort, not Beaufort, Gwinnett County twice a month. And so there's several options, DeKalb, Clayton, Rockdale, there's several options.
So it's not just the downtown location?
Right, not just the 104 Marietta Street that you have to come to.
Good.
Right, you have some other options.
Good.
And,
All right, thank you.
yes, and I have several, as I indicated, information. Who pays first, a guide to who pays first, protecting you from Medicare fraud, and I did give you four R's. What's the 4 R's? We're protecting yourself. Record, review, report, and remember. Yeah, so you really have to protect yourself regarding Medicare fraud and abuse.
May I also add that there are times when there are these strange companies will call you indicating about a certain maybe equipment for which they are offering, and with the pretense there has been something approved by Medicare, whatever. Last year I received something like that, which I was very skeptical. And so I called Medicare, reported it, and it said that there was no connection with that company because the company was saying that Medicare would approve whatever that payment was. And so I knew, first of all, that anytime I receive a call, should receive a call, is because I've had some interaction with that company. However, there are those who are just calling us. And unfortunately, some of us feel that it's legitimate and will give out personal information. But when they find out that you are aware of who they are, then of course they hang up very quickly. And so after I reported it, and then I had no other calls from that particular company.
Okay, she was giving us information about Medicare. Mostly about fraud and abuse. People will call you indicating that they're calling for Medicare, or they're calling because they know you don't need a certain durable equipment and the medical equipment, and just offer to send them to you and will let you know, and sometimes they will let you know that you do not have a copay. Just give me your number, you will have a copay. And she called Medicare and reported them. So that may be something you tell them on the phone. Well, I was told I need to report you. What's your name? What's your telephone number? So just be mindful of all those calls, all the mailings, all of that information. And also any of you are in the marketplace. I do have just a brochure that talks about some information regarding the marketplace or your family members. And just make sure that you share the information, because Of course, many of your members could not be here today. Many of your friends and family could not be here today. So just make sure that you share the information with them because it's very important that the more knowledge they have, the better they can make decisions. Any more questions, comments?
And one thing to watch out for, when I first got on Medicare, I started getting an envelope about every month or so from somebody called CMS.
CMS, okay.
And I almost dropped it in the trash, figuring that's just more people trying to sell me insurance. No, it's the Center for Medicare Services. Why it doesn't just say from Medicare as the return address, I do not know. But you need to open that and read it because it's a whole summary of the doctor's offices that you visited and so forth and so on. So it's really important to realize that it's from Medicare, even though it's called CMS.
If you receive, he indicated that he's received mail from CMS, and it's important that you open that mail. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid.
I think they have improved on that.
Yeah.
In terms of having written it out now.
Yeah,
My
down
new
below.
Medicare card came, and I almost didn't open it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I opened it, oh, this is my new Medicare card. Yeah.
Yes,
Well, in
ma'am.
that case, they didn't want to say, this is a Medicare card that you can steal in the market for one. That's
Hey,
fine.
monsters.
It's also true that when you look at that CMS, it's the, what is it called? The summary comes,
Medicare beneficiary summary.
Medicare summary notices. That's where CMS comes. You know, right on the first page, it says, has this been approved? And I get books because I'm two different people. My brother and I are both in the same household, so I see these constantly come at me. I first look, is there anything that's not been approved? And sometimes it'll say, just yes, everything was approved. And then sometimes it says no. Okay? So when it says no, that automatically makes me at that moment look at what wasn't approved. And you know, I've had things, and this is not long ago, not approved, and then there's, in that whole package you get, there's an application to make an appeal. And I did that, I made an appeal, and I got it all covered. So if you are sitting around just twiddling your thumb, have nothing else to do, read those things and make the appeal and just, you know. So
Right.
it was pretty important because the problem is they didn't have on their records that I had polio and post-polio syndrome. So their suggestions, and the first time it was sent back to me was, well, what you need is a good chiropractor. That's what they said. And you should get physical therapy. Well, that's, you know, come on. And so I go back to them and I gave them my, you know, basically my medical history. And when they see that, then they say, oh, okay, this is way beyond what we're suggesting. You know, and then they'll pay for it. So I got it on record because of that, because it will come up again. What the procedure I had done, it will come up again eventually. So I want it to be approved, and now it's on their records.
Very good, very good. Well, the Medicare summary notices, make sure that you look at all that information. Make sure if you were at the doctor's when they say that was your appointment or was it not your appointment. And if you disagree with something, it's probably on the last page that gives you your appeal options. That gives you those appeal options. If you need assistance with that or not understanding the appeal options, Georgia Cares, of course, can speak with you with regards to at least 3 levels of appeal options.
It's interesting that you say that because I had a similar experience recently with my mother and found that they were double billing. Yeah. And they were saying that we kept getting a rejection. It's because they had paid one bill and they weren't going to pay a second time. And so calling, and we found out that that's what had happened, but it happened on more than one occasion.
And that happens a lot with the home health care.
home health care?
A lot of times their billing is not as good as the big hospitals and the big like immune systems and stuff. They're not as good and they get mixed up and maybe a year later it will come through. And then you go, whoa, wait a minute, well, this is a long time ago. And it's because they're not, I don't think they have as good billing systems.
Okay, so speaking regarding the home health care services,
They're still in CMS.
that their billing may be, you really need to pay close attention to that, because of the way that they do it. That it may not be like, a big company's billing records are.
Another question I have is,
Yes.
you said on here that G, the only thing you have to pay is $183 more. right?
$183 a year for G. G doesn't pay the Part B.
The deductible. So, and you're saying all these plans, no matter what company it is, they have to cover everything?
Well, for instance, it could be 20 companies that cover, that offer G. But each company may charge you something different. But each, for your premium, but each company will have to give you everything that G says that you're supposed to have.
Okay. That's very interesting, because it is a lot of difference, and I did not know that. That's the one thing I looked at. That's pretty important.
That is pretty important,
I
yes.
will tell you that you were asking about United Healthcare. I will tell you that, well, my brother's had about $450,000 worth of care in the last 2.5 years, not have, he hadn't had to write a check for anything.
United?
That's the Medigap policy for United Healthcare.
The Medicare policy, and he possibly may have Plan F. He has Plan F.
That's why I put a check.
And he has Plan F.
I would hesitate to check, because I thought, well, you can't change that, because this is so good. But you're saying that it's only 180, because that's a pretty expensive policy.
Just pay attention to what the premiums are for each one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come out to Atlanta Post-Polio Association. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a good group of people. Look like you agree with everything I said.
Thank you so much.
And make sure you write down the resources.
Well, we'd like to thank you for coming today, and we look forward to next year and learning all the information, applying our information learned.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's really interesting. We do this once a year, but you just find out not only what's new, but what you thought you knew, or how did I miss that? What else is there to learn in all of this? So we just want to thank you for coming out and sharing so much information. Thank you, Rita, for putting this together. We really have a great resource here that we can use. So we do appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to just we're learning to operate this thing. Okay, member news. Okay, so what is going on? Most of you saw that we went to Warm Springs, And we had a great time. As you can see, we had quite a few people there. There's a few of the pictures from Warm Springs. Any comments about the Warm Springs? And all the folks who went to Warm Springs here so people can see who went to Warm Springs. Comments, anything you'd like to share about our trip?
Well, I liked it because I learned a lot about the history, and it was it was unbelievable, all the things that they do. Plus, I like the Bullock House food, the mom and pop stuff. I thought that was just great. So,
That was really cool. Any other comments? Leslie, Joe? Yeah, comments? No? This group is really quiet. Quiet. We gathered afterwards at the Bullock House restaurant, and that was a lot of fun. We had great meals and really had a chance to kind of bond and talk with one another. So thank you all for that. I was hoping Barbara was going to be here today and have a chance to talk a little bit about what she did, but we'll catch her. She has family in from out of town and only a few days with them, so we'll catch her about her European trip on the next meeting. So we would like to do that. But this time, I'd just like to take some time and find out kind of what's new, what's happening with you, give you all a chance to just share any significant activities in terms of insights or what's happened in your own life and handling or dealing with polio, post-polio, any enlightenments or things that have happened. We've talked about the cold intolerance and talking to friends and family and a number of things. So kind of what's percolating. What's happened to you this time? You've just come on new and talked to Dr. Strasser. Many of us have been to Dr. Strasser. Belinda, update us on the activity too with the acknowledgement of the young man who helped you.
Okay. Excuse me. He's been acknowledged by, I think, the city of Smyrna, given a citation for helping me and being a worthy person and stuff like that. So he's more or less, he's pleased with that. So that's pretty good. I wanted to ask about, has anybody done any investigation into stem cell research or anything like that?
I'd like to have that for a program, and I do have some contacts, so I think that would be interesting for us to look into.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try and find somebody. This is part of programming for next year when we plan that.
Have you heard of anything related to
There's always something you can sign up for, go to a presentation, like they'll give you lunch, and you sit through their presentation, they tell you what they do as far as stem cells. Sometimes they can get your own stem cells, and then sometimes they'll have to get them from a healthy birth of a child, and then they'll be flown in on high sports, whatever it is, and they'll be shipped here to be injected into your joints or wherever that hurts. That's what I heard.
I'm just saying that, there's been a lot of scam companies that have taken a lot of money from people, and that's not Medicare approved, right?
It's not.
And you have to be really, really, really good at checking out the company.
Yes.
Because they can promise you the world if it sounds too good, that kind of thing. To be true.
Yeah, I've heard it from a few different places, so I've only been to one presentation. So that's why I was wondering. And I haven't signed up for it.
Yeah, that's a kind of record to someone who, I know someone who's using themselves and really think it's wonderful. And it's something else that you have to be really careful about stem cell and what it's stimulating. So, it might be interesting to have a discussion about that. And just enlighten us in terms of that topic area. Okay. What else is going on with us? What's happening?
Since we're talking about stem cell, would it not be to our advantage to talk to our physicians like Dr. Strasser and some of the others as to what their opinions are, because they work so closely with us?
Well, we can possibly check into Emory or here at the Shepherd Center and see who might, or if someone has heard of someone that is good, that has a medical background, research background, that we could back up.
Because the reason I'm saying that is because a few years ago, when there was a physician, not connected, of course, with our needs, who was discussing about knee replacements. And so, what I was mentioning that, for instance, like to Dr. Strasser, I like to say that he was very concerned because he says that there are those who talk about different things in relation to us as polio survivors who have no knowledge, no understanding of what our needs are, and therefore we have to be extremely careful from the standpoint of even entertaining or allowing them to approach us about certain types of treatments or surgeries or whatever, because if anything, we would end up doing more damage than what one might initially be experiencing.
That's a good point, right there. Like being targeted as seniors, targeted as post-polio survivors, you know, the opportunities. And so it is definitely something that we have to think about, be very sensitive to. We just had
You're breaking up with your
presentation. Oh, sorry. We just had a presentation not too long ago about scams and various scams that are going on. And I think this is just another piece of that, but we have to keep the conversation going. I don't know about you, but several of us had just this past week a scam experience where someone tried to get in contact with us and say, oh, as if they were the person. We're traveling, but we need your help and need some money for something, you know. And that kind of thing. And so, you know, you get that kind of, you know, stuff. But it's just being sensitive to it, because there was a time where that might be very, very true. And we tend to be more open and honest. But that's not the deal today. That is not the deal today. So just be sensitive. It can happen all kinds of ways. One of the things that I wanted to do is, this thing is moving around or something. Other kinds of things that come. Our new guests, are there any things that are coming to mind that you'd like to hear or see as a result of people will give you a little bit of time to chat with folks independently afterwards too.
Well, I would like to say, because we over the years have expressed about cold intolerance. However, like a lot of these buildings now, that at a certain time of the year when they turn on that AC, it can be freezing in there, like, you know, the Antarctica or whatever. And so sometimes I think, especially in reference to that, even though I know that we are experiencing some degree of cold intolerance, but however, some of that now, let us not complain ourselves. It's these buildings in which we tend to have to be in over periods of time. That's all I'm adding to that.
That is true, and I think bringing extra wrap, like
Oh,
you
yes.
have, my hands are cold right now. So, we were talking about this, and we spent some time talking about it, and I wrote a little bit about it in the newsletter, which is a great segue. And in terms of the conversations that we've had here about what we can do to address the issue of cold tolerance. It's funny, before you talk to people like this, in this setting, for those of you that are new, and you come into this setting, you go, oh, it's not just me, not just me feeling this way, and you hear people express concerns they had, and we have an opportunity to share. That's what's unique and really, really good about this organization. I think the other thing is the information that we get via our newsletter. And I would just want to take this opportunity to personally thank Joe. I know you said something last time, but I wasn't here, and he's shy when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I just want to bring up and acknowledge Joe, what he has done in terms of the time that we've been here together. And the newsletter actually provides additional information. And so, thank you, Joe. I'm saying thank you, Joe, again. And we just want to celebrate you, and I brought a cake for Joe. For all of us to share in a little cake and celebration. And at the back of the room, we have a cake that says, "Thank you, Joe, for being the APPA editor for all this time." So, I just want to say again, personally, Joe has been a help to me in a number of situations, but he's tired and he wants to take a break. And so he's still gonna work with us in terms of doing some articles and things like that going forward in the future and how. But he's been an institution, an icon in himself in APPA. And so that's a lot of work, and if you haven't seen it, I just want to go back for a second and say this was the last edition, and our breaking news, our editor retires. And you saw this in the newsletter, and talking about all the things that Joe has done for our organization and with us. So again, I want to have time for people to express some thanks to you, Joe. I don't know if you have some words that you'd like to share with us. I know he was not prepared for this. I would tell him, because he told me not to do this, and I just wanted to say thank you, because it will mean something to me. So, Joe.
Certainly, thank you. It was certainly a pleasure and an honor. One thing to keep in mind, all of these newsletters are available on our website. And in most cases, the information that was in there, particularly as it applies to polio, really hasn't changed. There's not a lot of research being done about post-polio, not a lot of new information. So stuff that I wrote 10 years ago about post-polio still applies.
Absolutely.
So I think we have had a couple of articles over the years about cold intolerance and things like that. So it really behooves you to go to our website and look up some of these old newsletters and reread some of this stuff. Because even myself, when I reread them, I go, I wrote that 5 years ago and I've already forgotten it. I need to be reminded of some of the stuff I have actually written myself, much less other ones that I've written by other people. So keep that in mind. So even though we don't have a current newsletter coming out anymore, you can certainly read the old ones. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's worth rereading.
Well, presently, the virus poliovirus is being used for brain tumor research. And I actually have a paper that I got on the website from the New England Journal of Medicine. And, and so polio is changing, but it's for the better.
Yes.
To help cure cancer.
The information is being used in other ways that we originally had talked about with that.
I could
So-
actually bring that article in, so maybe the next time I could bring that in. But it's a scientific paper, but it would give you an overview of what's going on.
And that is perfect. I think that's the kind of thing that, you know, you can share with the group. We've definitely been sharing through these sessions, these meetings, and our newsletter, our website that Allison is handling for us, and a number of other pieces of information that comes through to us. So I just wanted you to know that there's richness and resources within the group, and we appreciate you bringing that to us. I'm going to officially, there's no other business, thank our guests again. Thank you so much for coming to be with us today. Going to adjourn this meeting and have cake.
I have bags for you all to put your information in. And who didn't receive a little trinket, I see if I can find something for you.